Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity, that place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buc fans were there too. These Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lead Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks
Donovan.
like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Buccateers is back live and better than ever on a Taco Tuesday as we approach football season here. I'm your host, Tampa Tones. I'll be joined tonight by some great companions of mine. Gene from Buc What Ya Heard will be in the house any minute now. J-Lo, I don't know where the hell that guy is. He's harder to find than Waldo these days, but he'll be here as well. And maybe JC Allen might be a guest host in the house. Our friend from Sports Illustrated is ready to roll as well. He'll join us about halfway through the program, about 6:30 Eastern time here on the Buccateers. We do have JC Allen of Sports Illustrated joining, but nonetheless, I'll hold the fort down for now as we got a lot to go over. A busy show for you guys as we prepare for joint practices with the Dolphins. Preseason week 4 with Miami at Raymond James Stadium, our first preseason game at home. And then, of course, college football right around the corner and so much more. The great Christopher Cole is in the house saying, evening, Buccaneers fans. Evening, Christopher. How the hell are you doing? Welcome in to the Buccateers podcast. Bud Cannibalist, howdy. Bud, how the hell are you, my man? Hope all is well with you. Hope you got to enjoy a little bit of Saturday's game. Not much to enjoy, but we will talk about what there was to enjoy. I think there's some really bright spots on this Buccaneers team, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys here tonight. Scott, hey, what is up? How we doing, Scooter? Hope all is well, brother, as you're joining us on Facebook. I wasn't lying to you guys. I said we'll be joined shortly by the great Gene from
Let's
Buc
see
What Ya
if I
Heard.
got some...
Gene, I think they were lying to me.
What's up?
They thought I was lying. I'm like, hey, we're going to be joined by Gene. Hold on. The chat room went quiet a minute, but how the hell we doing, brother? Hope all is well with you, my friend. Excited to talk some Bucs ball and bear bracketology.
Testing.
Could you hear us, Gene? Could Gene not hear us? Maybe. We'll see if we could get Gene.
Hey, give me a second here. I'm trying to get online here.
Yeah, no worries, Gene. Take your time. We got Bud Cannibalist. A few takeaways from the game. Bud, one takeaway I have is our front seven played incredible. We got a couple guys to shout out. Obviously, Jose Ramirez had 3 sacks, 2 of which came on his behalf. 1 sack, Mac Jones did fall over, but they all count the same, whether you run into a sack or you create the sack. So, to me, our front seven, Jose Ramirez, 3 sacks. That's incredible stuff. Gene, whenever you are able to join us.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm back in business.
Are you doing as good as Jose Ramirez was on his 3-sack Saturday? That was something to watch.
I don't even think I can compete with that guy, man. Sorry. But that guy is incredible.
Him and Marquise Watts provide a lot of excitement and a lot of unknown for our edge position.
58,000 watts is incredible, man. I've really enjoyed watching him. And if he can stay healthy, man, I am so excited for what he's going to bring to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Very much so, me as well. And I thought we had some other good D-line play. We'll talk about it in a minute. Christopher Cole, I'm good, just getting ready for the season and can't wait to see the first team Friday night. Let's fucking bake. Gene, we're also going to see the first team in practice this week with the Dolphins. We have a good friend of the show's Dolphin. We talked about her a couple months ago about this Dolphins Bucs practices, and yet here we are 2 to 3 months later, and they're right in front of our face. It's crazy how fast this preseason is flying by, Gene, but I do look forward to these joint practices, and I do look forward to them with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, most definitely, man. This is the time of the year where you got to get excited. This is where you get to get a glimpse, a little taste of what the first team's going to look like. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, this is where you want to be right here. And you know, with the Bucs, my goal is no injuries going into the regular season, nothing consistent that would really hurt the team. And that's kind of what we want to see. I think that's going to be the key to the success of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is whether or not they have those injuries or not.
I agree there completely. J-Lo, welcome in. Talking a little bit about practices, preseason, hoping we keep avoiding the big injury bugs here. It seems like we are to this point. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, luckily not too many major injuries. It looks like Elijah Cansey is going to be back at practice. Hopefully he stays healthy because we're really going to need him for the season. Um, as far as the big names go, hopefully we'll see some JTS this Friday. I think he needs to get some reps in there, depending on his shoulder injury, I guess what he had going on. But hopefully, you know, injury-free practice. Hopefully just, you know, good joint practice. No one gets hurt and get ready for the first game regular season.
Yeah, and J-Lo, I do want to get your thoughts on this as well a little bit. The game on the game last Saturday against Jacksonville, we're not going to talk a lot about it, but Jose Ramirez 3-sack game, me and Gene said that's incredible. Thoughts on Jose Ramirez getting to 3 sacks? That's pretty good stuff from what we all thought might have been a practice squad lineman. Now he's making the serious case to make the active roster edge group position.
No, he's really putting in a lot of work, you know, coming, you know, from an injury season last year, not getting too many reps in. And plus, you know, Yaya is a big believer in him, which is good. You need a leader like that in the locker room to push him. He is very impressive. He's been impressive the whole entire preseason. If you count the Bengals game as well, he would have had some sets, but he got held many times by that lineman. So, you know, shout out to him. I think he's locked in a roster spot for sure.
I do.
Yeah, I do want to say that I really hope that the NFL refs can get a few more reps in to get it right, because I feel like they kind of been catching some L's, you know, this preseason, and hopefully they can get it all worked out where they're ready to call a clear and fair game as we go into the regular season.
Yeah, some of these refs could use a lot of work. I mean, I tweeted today, remember the game where 2010 Kellen Winslow Jr. got called for phantom offensive pass interference against the Lions, ultimately cost us the playoff game. Remember that? And
Yes.
we really haven't, you know, refs really haven't paved the way since. But our guy Neil's here. He's paving the way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How the hell it do, Neil? Gene, we'll start with you with this one. How about Barton for center? I think we all knew that was coming. Jason Light isn't going to take a first-round offensive lineman and let him go to waste. Jason Light's incredible with drafting linemen. I don't think he's missed on a lineman yet, Gene, and if he has, it's been a very long time. So to me, this is no surprise. I expected nothing less than our first-round pick winning the center spot.
I've been really excited with Jason Light. I mean, your first-round picks are your starters, and I don't care what anybody says. If you're not looking at a first-round pick competing for a starting position, then you know you're looking at this all wrong. So first round pick is a starter. Second round pick is competing for a starting position. Third round pick is somebody that's going out there and pushing for possibly starting. Fourth, fifth, sixth round pick is somebody that's there for camp bodies. And you know, 7 round picks, you know, that's your wild card. You don't know what you're actually going to get out of them, and it's a possibility that you could potentially get somebody that'll come out there and usurp somebody for a starting position. So normally that's your mindset going into the draft and getting these players out here. And Jason Light has been so consistent, you know, going back to Ali Marpet, you know, bringing in Ryan Jensen from free agency, and just some of the other players that he's brought in, and, you know, players that have moved on to other teams and shown that they can, you know, start in the NFL. So again, I'm happy with this front office and what they've done. And, I thought no less that they would have somebody that they could bring in and really compete, if not starting in that position.
Couldn't agree more. And as you said, Gene, Jason Light's done great with what he's done in the draft specifically, but he's always brought in good talent, whether it's been draft or free agency, but specifically draft. They're either starters in Tampa or they end up elsewhere making big impacts as well, especially the O-linemen. Look at the couple of years past. Tristan Wirfs, obviously a big one there. Cody Mauch, Luke Odecki. Now you're looking at Graham Barton, and I know that's a little premature. You've heard nothing but great things about Eli Klein. Robert Hainsey has made himself into a really nice backup. I think a lot of teams out there would be happy with Hainsey. Then you look into the UDFA pool. He did some nice work with Haggard and those lights there. So really, and then he drafted Alex Kappa. He ended up getting a bag. Ellie Marpet, he drafted as well. So the list goes on and on. Graham Barton, I think, is here to stay for the long haul. J-Lo, from offense to defensive line, Judge Culpepper. We got a lot of good questions right now before we get to some of our topics of convo. Judge Culpepper hasn't heard much about prioritize UDFA. Two things on this, J-Lo, then I'll get your thoughts. A, it's preseason, so maybe the coaches are seeing stuff on film that we're not seeing develop, right? Just because we're not hearing his name a lot might not mean he's effective or ineffective for that reason, So that's something to keep in mind. And B, teams do this all the time where they bring in UDFAs or 6th or 7th round picks and they kind of quote unquote hide them in preseason. They don't want them to get that exposure. So when roster cutdowns happen, the Bucs could say, quote unquote, hey, we're going to hide Judge Culpepper on our practice squad so another team isn't exposed to him. I don't know if that's the case here. Certainly that's what happened with Marquise Watts in the last preseason game last year. J-Lo, thoughts on Judge Culpepper, and do I sound right?
No, you do. I mean, it could be a hidden gem. Maybe they're not trying to use him as much. Or maybe, he's just not quite getting there yet. I mean, it takes time. Some players get it quickly, some don't. It just depends. I think, honestly, I could see him hitting the practice squad for a little while, to help develop, some of his skills, and then when the time's right, maybe they'll promote him to the active roster. I just think that maybe, he's just maybe not getting there yet. It takes time. That's my opinion on Judge Culpepper.
Yeah, and Christopher says Hainsey is solid. He said sold, but I'm going to go with solid. And Barton is elite. I could get behind that. And you know what else I could get behind? Buc What You Heard and Buccateers. You guys are tuned in right now live on YouTube, Facebook, so much more. And we have an exciting night ahead. Gene, J-Lo, and myself will be joined by the great JC Allen of Sports Illustrated in about 12 to 20 minutes or so. And later in the show, we got part 2 of Beer Bracketology with Gene about the Buc What You Heard and Buccateers beer for the 2024 Buccaneers season. We're going to see more beers eliminated, more beers move on in about 30, 35 minutes here. Isn't that right, Gene?
Yeah, we got to make it happen, man. I am just excited. I'm anxious to see what beer we are going to be drinking in the 2024 season. So I'm excited for that. Guys, if you haven't been following along, man, this has been a lot of fun trying out some new beers, and it's kind of moving forward. So, be sure to stay tuned and see what we come up with.
I'm going to do something too. I don't know the exact details of it yet. I'm sure Gene's going to think of something creative on his end. But for Buccateers and Buc What You Heard, anytime you crack open the official Buc What You Heard and Buccateers beer this season, it could be on an off day, it could be on a Tuesday, it could be on game day, it could be during the bye week. But anytime you crack open one of those lovely beers, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tweet it at Buccateers or at Buc What You Heard.
Both. Let's do both.
Yeah, do both. That's how you have to enter. You have to get Buc What You Heard, and that's at Buc What You Heard. Pretty simple. BUCWHAT, and then Heard, HEARD, and at Buccateers, BUCCATEERS. You tweet at both of us a picture of the beer. You're going to get one entrance into the year-end randomizer, and whoever ends up winning is going to get a hell of a prize package on behalf of the podcast. I'm talking game used memorabilia, football cards, T-shirts, hats. I'm talking physical copies of tickets from the Super Bowl season in 2002 when
Yeah,
we
let's
won
make it fun.
Yeah, and Gene, I think these people deserve that. I think they hang out with us all the time. They give us nice things to talk about. I think we could, and we're going to do other giveaways as well. But this will
Most
be fun.
definitely. I think the beauty of this is, like, you look at the chat right now and how busy the chat is. Thank you guys for taking time, because it would be so easy just to sit back and listen. But when you're taking time to go in and putting your thoughts on something, that's greatly appreciated. And we want to give back to you and show you that we do appreciate what you're talking about.
Exactly. And whether you started listening to Buc What You Heard, whether you listened to Buccateers, all that we care about is colluding with all of you, having a good time with all of you, hanging out with all of you, whether it's virtually or on Twitter, wherever the hell it might be. We love you guys. We love Bucs Nation. So Gene thought of a great idea with this bear draft, and we let you guys decide what bears would be in the bracket. We helped out a little bit as well, but ultimately it's been great stuff. And I'm looking forward to having a couple bears, whether it's from a near or from afar, with you guys. And I'll be sure to tweet out my game day schedule this year. I think I'm going to 3 or 4 road games. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm guys, breaking news. I'm row 1 in New Orleans, right by the Bucs tunnel. I'm in the belly of the beast. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting. I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to Kansas City. And then I'm going to Tampa for the Raiders game. So if any of you guys are in any of those towns and I'll be at a game, come find me and I'll personally buy you the Buc What You Heard Buccateers beer of the 2024, and we can have a toast together. How about that, Gene?
Sounds like a plan, man. I am so excited for this. Again, man, I mean, this is what the season is right here. Just being able to enjoy it with fellow fans.
Definitely. And Gene, I mean, me and you have been, good buddies for a minute now, but, really over the past 5, 6, 7 months, we've been collabing a lot, us two, J-Lo, and this is going to be how it is for the year. I mean, you're going to find Gene streaming on Buccateers. You're going to see some Buccateers guys joining Buc What You Heard, but at the end of the day, throughout the 2024-2025 season, you're going to see us cross-platforming. You're going to see Gene, J-Lo, myself on each other's shows. Kenny Barrett, the great KB, he'll be greatly mixed in as well. Some other characters too, like that J.C. Allen guy who should be joining us shortly. But speaking of characters, J-Lo, we'll start with you here. The undrafted free agent rookie, Delgado, number 60, he played a lot of guard last game, right next to Barton, right next to some other rookies as well, like Eli Klein. He played really damn good, and Brian Baldinger gave him his kudos for it. J-Lo, thoughts on Delgado, and does he have a chance at making this team, or you think he's more of a practice squad hopeful at this point?
He's got a strong chance to make the roster, depending on the injuries of the other linemen. I believe School's hurt, and then also Haggard, I think is his name. Haggard, I can't pronounce his name.
He was an undrafted free agent last year.
Yeah, I like what he did in the Cincinnati game. He'd be a guy I think that might have a chance to make it over him. But let's see another game of Delgado. If he performs well, then I think he's earned a roster spot for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. As our guy Jonas says, hi, crew, nice shirt, Gene. It absolutely is. And if you guys are late, Pops texted in, hey, could family members win? He's talking about the bear draft challenge. Absolutely. Anybody could win. Family members, friends, strangers, neighbors, workers, employers, whoever the hell it is tweeted in the bear. You guys could absolutely win. If you missed it, you can catch a replay. Or when we do pick a bear winner, tweet in a picture. I don't think it'll be the pumpkin bear, but we'll see. Cleve and Me says, hey, how the hell we doing, Cleve and Me? Glad to have you here, Joey. So do we get Reddick at this point? No, I don't think we trade for Hassan Reddick. I'm going to keep it simple. Gene, I think the Bucs front office likes the youthmanship that showed in the edge room. And I think if we had a Randy Gregory replacement, he would have been in the house by now. I think the Bucs are far aware that Gregory wasn't going to be here for quite some time at this point, Gene. So I don't think we make a move for Reddick. I think, Reddick, to me, Reddick is trouble written on him as well. He got traded to the Jets. And you see a different tale of two here. Matthew Judon gets traded to the Falcons. He says, I'm open to playing a no deal. And then, Gene, real quick, you see Reddick saying, hey, I need to get traded and I need a deal.
That's kind of scary right there. We've seen previous NF general managers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who potentially could have bid on that. Again, you trust the process. You love what Jason Light has been doing. You love what that front office has been doing since he's been in power, and he's just continued to get better and better at his job, working his craft as a general manager. And if we're not seeing any movement with any of these free agents or a possible trade, there has to be a reason. And I believe that this team is comfortable with what they have, and I think that they're going to work with what they have. If something happens, I'm good with it. But if not, I'm perfectly good with that as well. So to me, you got to trust the process. I love Jason Light, love the front office. I love the people that are, the talent evaluators out there and what they're doing. So I'm good with what's going on right now. If there's nothing happening and there's no movement, I'm good with that too. So let's just, trust in Jason Light in putting this team in a position to win. That's what we have to do right now. I don't think he's giving us a reason to not trust him.
Couldn't agree more. There's no reason not to trust Jason Light. Whatever he does at this point, I'll be a fan of. I think he stays put, but you never know with Jason Light. He's a crazy man in a good way. He'll hit you upside the head when you least expect it with the roster move, and oftentimes it does pay dividends. And speaking of paying dividends, Christopher Cole says, hit that like button, guys. We appreciate that. Cleve and me, he loves Brian Baldinger. We do too. Baldy is a classic. Flash Gordon Delgado is this year's Sandsy. Hopefully we can keep him on the practice squad. Yeah, it's going to be hard because, you'll probably keep about 7-8 active linemen on game day, 10 total practice squad. He's definitely making the practice squad. He might make active, probably not, but Brandon Walton struggled immensely, so you never know. Barton and Mock equals 2-lane highway. Yeah, definitely. They're going to be really incredible on a one-way. I love Jason and I love Liam. I think we all love Jason. And Liam, we should surely love as well. Speaking of love, guys, who do you love so far this preseason? I know we talked about Jose Ramirez, but I'm going to name a guy who to me has came on really strong here. He's in the Canadian Football League right now, so he's being slept on. He went undrafted in the NFL. He got drafted late in the Canadian League as well, and some of you might know where I'm going. Big number 75. He's in the picture of our thumbnail on this YouTube video. Lawal Yaguik, however you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it, but he's been incredible this preseason. Only 24 years young. He was born in Canada. He went to Texas Christian, Connecticut, so not the biggest of colleges. Right now he's on the Montreal Alouettes, and now he's on the Buccaneers. But, Gene, I watched against the Jaguars. This guy stood out. He got a sack. His motor was high. He was making plays all over the place. He got in the backfield on a consistent basis. Same with week 2 or game 1 against the Bengals. I'm really impressed with what Lawal Yaguik has brought to the table, Gene, and I think he's for sure at the practice squad at this point. Maybe outside chance at the active roster, but Lawal Yaguik, he's making a name for himself this preseason, Gene, big number 75.
I have been really happy with him and what he's done and how consistent he's played. I don't know, for me, Sean, I'm a bad mother trucker. Tucker is a guy that I'm super excited about as well. I mean, we haven't been able to really be excited about the running game going back to Doug Martin and the season that he had, but consistently. And again, I was part of the fan club for goodness, now I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Dave Canales.
No, not Dave Canales, the running back for the Bucs 2020.
Sean Tucker.
No, not Sean Tucker. He went to Kansas City and went. Rojo. I was excited about Rojo, but Rojo just didn't materialize into what we thought he would. And I will say this, just with the running back room that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have right now, I'm pretty excited about it. And Sean, Sean, I'm a bad trucker. Tucker is a guy that I'm super excited about. I think when he's been given the opportunity, he's really shown what he can do. And I expect big things from him, going into the season. I think he's secured a place on this team. And I would be totally shocked if he didn't make it. But Sean Tucker is somebody that I really love. You know what I'm saying? So let's hope that all works out for him.
Hey, I love that right there. Sean Tucker has been incredible. He's been really feasting. And remember last year in the preseason and to begin the regular season, he was making his way back from injury, heart condition, all sorts of things. So now he's ready to roll. Scott says he likes Canoe. I like what I've seen from Canoe. His only problem is he's dropped a couple of key passes. And if you're a wide receiver in this league, you have to do the easy things right. So Canoe does the little things right. Now he just has to make the big time plays, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Canoe makes the practice squad. But there is severe competition there. You have Ryan Miller, who's looked really good. Cody Thompson has looked incredible. You're going to have to find a place for Rakim Jarrett because seemingly the Bucs like Cam Johnson a lot. Sterling Shepard's still around. And Chris Godwin, Trey Palmer, McMillan, Mike Evans are all locks. Sterling Shepard will probably be a lock at some capacity. So then you throw in Cam Johnson and Cody Thompson, guys. He's been incredible. This past week, he had 5 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown, 2 carries for 12 yards. Former Seattle Seahawks wide receiver now paying dividends. But J-Lo, if you were to name a guy, we got Sean Tucker, we got Cody Thompson, and we got our guy Lawal Yaguak. Outside of Jose Ramirez, who are you naming, J-Lo, as somebody who's stood out this far? And we'll see if we could get J-Lo back in the near future. Maybe he's having technical difficulties or something. But, Gene, whether it's on the way up or the way down, I'll tell you one guy who I haven't been too impressed with, and this is to fault of I'm not sure, but Chase McLaughlin better get his butt going. We gave him a lot of money. I'm not freaking out because it's preseason, but he has missed a couple kicks now, one in each week. That's not the most encouraging thing in the world after you pay a journeyman kicker pretty good money. So if I could see one guy make improvement, Gene, or one guy that's worried me a little bit to this point, it is Chase McLaughlin. But again, at the end of the day, once the regular season hits, I do think he gets in shape, and I think he's fine. But I do hope the pregame jitters or the preseason jitters get, nested away sooner rather than later.
For me, it's important for players to make the mistakes now in preseason. I'd rather see miscues, missteps in preseason, get all that cleaned up, and then when you're total leather at the beginning of the season, you can go out and do what you need to do. I've seen a lot of fans that believe that if a player is having problems in a preseason, they're going to have problems in the regular season. I don't agree. I always agree with that. And I just, like I said, I just want to see if there are problems, I can overlook this and just go into the regular season with a clear mind because we've kind of seen what they can do. And now we have an opportunity to see what they can do in the regular season. And let's hope that they can retain the form they had the year before and go out and do what they need to do.
Exactly, Gene. And I love it, man. We're firing the cannons today. We're getting hyped up here as we are here on the Buccateers Buc What Ya Heard podcast. The great Gene, Tampa Tones alongside J-Lo somewhere in the stratosphere. Julie,
I'm here now. Sorry.
No, you're good. J-Lo, quickly, in about 30 seconds, give us one disappointment this preseason and one guy who you've been impressed by.
So impressed, I have to say Devin Culp, the rookie tight end out of Washington. I think he's made some clutch catches. I think he's obviously tight end number 3. Probably have to fill in tight end number 2 if Payne Durham's not ready for the season, which I think he will be. Really impressed with him. Disappointing, I'm going to have to say the kicker, man.
You're agreeing with me. That's who I went with because he's missed a couple kicks now.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's just a little preseason dud, and hopefully by the time the season starts, he'll be ready to roll because he can't be missing kicks, man. You got to make those kicks. You got paid. Now it's time to, get in the gear and make these field goals.
My buddy actually went to college with him and had classes at U of I with him. I remember my buddy was like, "Hey, are you going to the game tonight?" He looks at him. He's like, "I'm the kicker, man." And that was Chase McLaughlin.
Oh, God.
Kind of a funny. Well, it's hard to recognize college kickers, and you got like 99 people on college teams. Their rosters run deep. So, But yeah, again, you should recognize the guy had a Big Ten program, but what can you do? Julian Silva says, I think Tucker is a good number one. Hey, if Tucker somehow ended up as number one, that's only good things for the Bucs or maybe bad things for the Bucs. But that means either Tucker's impressed so damn much that he's surpassed Bucky Irvin and Rashad White and Chase Edmonds, or that means we got real hamstring with injuries. So, hey, one way or another. Nestor, hey, how the hell you doing, Nestor? BB King and Flash Gordon talking about Cam Johnson. Yeah, Cam Johnson went to a small school called Barton, and he doesn't have a lot of film out there. First Barton player to ever be signed to the NFL, Gene, and I'm excited about him. Our friend Michael Pless of Real Bucs Talk, the great Dr. Pless, he's excited for him, Gene. But again, one of these guys, nothing against him or nothing for him, but you never really know with a couple of these guys until the regular season hits and, people start hitting for real. Starters start playing for real. I know we haven't seen a lot of Cam Johnson yet, but impressive what we have seen. I'm looking forward to the real games, though.
Most definitely, man. I think that's where it all comes down to is, the best available players getting in, starting the season and going in to put this team in a position to win. And that's kind of what we're looking for. I don't know how many seasons we've seen where Bucs players, you already know who's going to start and there's no competition. And, you just kind of have to take the coach's word for it that you're seeing the best players available that are actually going out there on the field. So what we've seen now is a little bit different where we're actually seeing competition in certain positions, and the best player has earned that position. And I'm super excited for that. You kind of asked the question about who I'm disappointed in, and Randy Gregory is the guy that I just really, I don't even understand why he even bothered to come and try to be a part of the Bucs organization. I just feel like that's really, and I just wish this guy would just, I wish he had never been a part of the organization to begin with, knowing what he's going through with the NFL. And I'm not sure what other personal issues that he has, but I wish the Bucs would have gone a different direction and possibly looked at a different player to fill these positions. But I feel like, the Bucs have enough talent right now where they can go in and do what they need to do.
Gene, and I think that was one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard from the fucking legend himself, Todd Bowles. And I love Todd Bowles, but he had a great quote. He's a man of many, but he said you can't miss what you never had in terms of Randy Gregory this week. Gene, I think that rings deep, and that hits home to me at least.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, again, he didn't have a negative or positive effect on this team. I feel like he's not going to be a distraction going into the season. And, fortunately for us, we don't have a lot invested in him because he didn't go out there and play during the key times where you needed him during preseason or, during these training camps, during these, the dual camps with the Jacksonville Jags or the Miami Dolphins. So I don't believe that Randy Gregory had much of an impact when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And I feel like the Bucs are better for it, just because they really don't know what the impact could have been having a Randy Gregory on the team. So that's just kind of how I feel about it.
And Gene, I think the greatest point you made, although you made many of great ones in the past couple minutes, but the part where we signed Gregory and then we kind of missed out because we could have signed other players at that point, but then other 100%. Players got scooped up. And, I don't blame the Bucs for holding out on Gregory because the longer they held out, the more money they could recoup, right? So that made sense on the Bucs' behalf, but I think that was selfish on Randy Gregory's behalf. Again, I hope he's okay mentally. I hope he's okay physically. But at the end of the day, don't commit yourself to playing football if you're going to back the hell out. Scott says, I love Trey and Kyle because he's a Gators fan. Well, Trey Palmer was an LSU guy, but maybe you're talking SEC football or something along those lines. Kyle Trask, though, at Florida, he was one of the best QBs I could imagine, man. I mean, he did have weapons to his disposal. He had Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, and a couple other guys. But, man, Kyle Trask was incredible. And Bud says he's a disappointment. I still don't know that. I'm going to say I don't know that. because a couple of things. He isn't throwing the football to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, getting Tristan Wirfs on his left tackle, Luke Godecki at right tackle. He is not getting that. He's just
And
not.
the one thing that really hurts is that he went to college in Florida. If he had gone to college outside of Florida, I think he would have been given a better opportunity, and he would have been given a clearer choice as a player had it not been for his selection in college teams. Me personally, I have no dog in the race, and but I do dislike Florida State more so than Florida. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't really that doesn't matter. That I think Florida State's a bunch of crybabies. But all I'm saying is I wish Trask had gone to another school outside of the Florida area, regardless of whether it's Miami, Florida State. I just wish he had gone somewhere else so he would get a fair shot from Bucs fans, and it probably would have been a little bit different. But like you, I feel the same way. He's not gotten a chance to. We haven't gotten a clear-cut chance to see him with the ones. We haven't gotten to see him throw the ball to Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. We haven't gotten a chance to see him throw to Rachaad White in the flat. I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities that it would have been really good to get a clear-cut understanding of what you have with the Kyle Trask. But at the end of the day, we've got Baker Mayfield, and that's who we're rolling with. So, I'm good with that.
The game where the Bucs fucked up once again, that Atlanta pointless Week 18 game a couple years back, they went half and half. They didn't go all in and play their starters. They didn't go all in and play their backups, as we will be joined by the great J.C. Allen here shortly.
And I want to say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Wolford and when you look at Kyle Trask, there's no clear elevation from one to the other or the other to one. They're about here. You can't sit here and tell me in this preseason that Wolford just dominated and he's the guy you got to go with 100%. Or on the flip side of that, you can't sit here and say Kyle Trask is a guy that we should have gone with. They're right here. They're right here. There's nobody that you can really say that with. My man.
Hey, it's a great J.C. Allen. Looks like
I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you, brother.
Buccateers.
We acknowledge you as always, brother.
Acknowledge me.
I got the field goal post going with my two arms in acknowledgement. So the great J.C. Allen, a man of many titles. We'll keep it simple. Contributor greatly for Bucs Game Day Sports Illustrated division. A man of like 18 podcasts at this point as well. Part-time football connoisseur at his son's practice. He brought Brandon Walton out there, running back trainers out there. This guy's incredible for every damn facet of the game. JC, I do want to get your thoughts quickly before we have some. Look at him right there. The man is podcasting at football. But JC, kind of just thoughts and give us your rundown on the Bucs preseason. We've been talking about highlights, lowlights. One thing in common, low light, Chase McLaughlin missing kicks. Hopefully that could get shaken out. But I think come regular season, he really does shake off the rust. And then a couple of other things. I'm impressed by our front seven. I think the young guns have provided dividends. Jose Ramirez, Lawal Yaguak, and other guys on the Bucs front line. I thought
CJ Brewer.
Yeah, I was just about to. You took the words right out of my mouth. CJ Brewer playing the lead as well. So JC, kind of give us your thoughts from a professional, and now you're an expert because I've seen your name saying, according to Buccaneers insider JCL, and you're floating around like wildfire, my friend. We always knew you were grade A though. So
yeah, I already knew it.
But give us your thoughts, JC. Lowlights, highlights, or anything you want to get off your mind about the preseason to this point.
Yeah, so preseason, I never look at it as anything to compare or kind of project to the full season. I think some fans will do that and they start kind of losing their mind and being like, oh, this, or our secondary got torched, or this, and they kind of, the best case scenario is those guys you're seeing getting torched never see the field. Hell, most of them you don't hear them get called up from the practice squad because that means you're pretty banged up at one position. So you always kind of keep your mind on that and kind of, let that, linger in your head, because if you look at these preseason games, and even next week or this week rather on Friday in the preseason game where the starters will play some reps, much to the chagrin of some in the organization. That's very vanilla. We're not showing anything. We're not doing anything. It's just kind of, we're going to go out there, knock the rust off, get some communication, get some, substitutions in. So all that's not fresh once we're coming out there week one. So production / playmaking, all of that stuff is great to see, especially from the young guys, the rookies. But it is not any indication of what this team will look like in the future once the regular season rolls around. So I think that's the major sticking point for preseason with the Buccaneers. But that being said, there has been a lot of promising looks at some guys. Graham Barton's obviously number one on that list. Broke it the other day. He's going to be the starting center. Bulls confirmed that today. I think Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan, some of these guys on the defensive side, as you mentioned, the younger stepping up, getting their opportunity. So I think it is good to get a glimpse of some of the young guys. And again, especially on the offensive line and some of these spots like that, if you have a bad preseason, it usually kind of lingers on in the season. But if you have a good preseason, if you're a rookie, it kind of can set you up for success in the regular season. So it's been good showing from them.
Yeah, JC, I also want to get your thoughts. Joint practice with the Dolphins this week, obviously going to be Battle of the Sunshine State out there. Thoughts on how last week's went, and if you expect the Bucs, not that they did bad, there was some kidding around, especially by Todd Bowles on a big play from Trask to Palmer saying, hey, that would have been negated by a sack. On the other flip side of the coin, you've seen the Jaguars make some big plays, but those perhaps would have been negated by some sacks. So do you think the Bucs treat this week of practices any differently, kind of getting some unneeded criticism from some out there on social media saying, hey, this team's going to beat, this defense is going to beat, blah, blah, blah?
I think for the starters, this practice tomorrow means more than the game does, even though the starters will be playing. I think that's a big thing. I think, the joint practices, you gain so much because there's so many things you can do with that. You can script things and certain looks and certain things with the other coaches with a different opponent. That's all kind of pre-planned. And then, you have some of these call-it periods where it's live and it's a different opponent. But I think the biggest thing it's going to provide to them is a test to see where they're at. Last week, there were some mishaps in the secondary, some slow starts offensively. And they know that they're going up against, another good team in the Dolphins, and that, okay, this is where we kind of stumbled last week. We got another opportunity this joint practice. Let's pick up right from the get-go. Let's make sure our energy's there. We're at home. We're not having to worry about a 40-minute bus drive to the stadium, all these things. So kind of just come out firing on all cylinders and get some good work, some clean work in between you and another opponent prior to the preseason, and they'll gain a lot from that, and that'd be really telling too for some of these bubble guys who are still looking to make a roster. Obviously, for them, the game is going to be huge as well. With assignments, making sure your communication is on point, you're sounding your assignments, you're not trying to do too much outside of your assignment, and making plays is always going to be good, but you want to make sure the fundamentals technique is down of what you've learned, and that's another opportunity for them to showcase it, not just tomorrow, but also, on Friday's game.
Yeah, we're being joined by the great JC Allen and millions and millions and millions.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, we got J-Lo appearing from the stratosphere back there. He's roaming around with John Daly, I think, on the golf course. But we do have some fun here. Facebook, we're joined by Rochelle El Monito, a couple of great characters. And JC, I got to ask you another intriguing question. How's your little man looking out there? How's he gearing up? How's their team looking? That's important to us as well. But how are your guys' team looking out there, the little ones?
They're looking sharp. It's they've got their jamboree this weekend, so they got 2 scrimmages against 2 teams. Cannon's, he's working for his spot. He's working for his job. He's in a battle for that starting center spot, much like Graham Barton and Robert Hainsey. And he's also, working in on that defensive line rotation. So, depending on what happens with him and if he wins that job, which he's looking pretty strong right now, he'll probably be more in a rotational role on defense. Obviously, you can't risk your center. If he doesn't, then he'll be, probably a starter on the defensive line. So either way, he's going to be in a good position. He's had some really good practices of late. Pads came on last week, so they're starting to hit. They're starting to feel it now. So it's good.
Hey, you're getting called Solo Sokoa by They say love the shades, JC,
Yeah,
aka
you don't know what he's
Solo
talking.
Sokoa.
I'm the OTC, all right?
Wow, we got a war right there. You're declaring you're the OTC. We got you getting called Solo, but that's great on Cannon. I mean, if anyone, this kid is full of energy, man. The one time I could tell he's probably the most.
Oh, yeah.
He's all over that field, man. He has my support, and I hope to see him on the Bucs one day. You never damn know. Not the Patriots, though. That franchise, they could do a little bit better things there. But no, JC, best of luck to the big Cannon as he emerges in his football career, just like these Bucs are, these UDFA Bucs and these rookie Bucs. And JC, if you had a guess right now, and then we'll let Gene jump in here. I know he's got some good stuff for you.
Chomping at it.
But JC, if as Olivia joins the
Buc
show
What
as
You
well.
Heard, Gene. This is Buccateers, all right?
I
You're
know.
the co-host.
Hey, it's a collab, We're live on both right now. We're live on both. The beer is gonna be for both, as Olivia says, hey, Olive, how the hell you doing? But JC, if you were to guess number of UDFAs that make the active roster, and I always take your saying. You say the roster's fluid, especially in preseason training camp, first couple weeks of the season. But just by week one, if you had a guess, how many UDFAs end up making the Buccaneers active roster? Last year, I think we saw Christian Izzian and Merriweather, I think, and Rakim Jarrett.
Merriweather, Christian Izzian,
Sean Tucker.
Rakim Jarrett. Someone on the offensive line. Was there someone on the offensive line? I'm not sure. No, there's a bunch though. There's quite a few guys. Quite a few rookies played too, and then some undrafted guys end up getting called up. Yeah, it's funny because as I'm doing my final 53-man roster prediction now, and I'm kind of going back and forth, and it's all about the strategy game, right? Do you want to put a guy out for waivers? And if you do want to put him out for waivers and maybe get him on the practice squad, is it something that you do a wink nod with a veteran and say, hey, we're going to cut you and we'll bring you back and we're going to put him down once other people have claimed a bunch of guys and they're kind of set, right? So, looking at it, I think Kalen DeLoach is one of them. I think J.J. Russell's ahead of him. So if they keep 5 inside linebackers, I think he's one that could potentially make it. I think Tyreek Funderburk, another friend of the show, he's in a battle right now with Keenan Isaac and Josh Hayes. Now they could keep I talked about this with him the other day. They could keep, 5 cornerbacks and, they could keep 11 guys in the secondary. They might not. It's going to be one of these things that are as fluid as you mentioned. There's a possibility that maybe, a guy like Tavier Thomas is put on the practice squad and they save it for one of these young guys or some situation like that. But I think that's it, man. Cam Johnson, I think, has an outside shot. He's got to really show out this week between tomorrow and Friday. Those are his last 2 days to do anything. I think Cody Thompson right now is probably wide receiver 6 going into this game and probably likely coming out of it. But really, man, I think 2 tops maybe. I don't think Judge Culpepper's shown enough. I don't think, any of the running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen, just kind of going through the roster, defensive linemen. I think you're looking at Kalen DeLoach and Tyreek Funderburk, but I also wouldn't be surprised if neither of those guys made the active roster and they decided to use those spots elsewhere. So, 2.
And real quick for you as well, Jonas asks, who's the starting left guard you think week 1? It seems like Bredesen might be, but Klein's giving him a run, it seems.
No, it's Bredesen. Bredesen's the starter. He'll be the starter. He's taking all the starter reps yesterday, today, throughout camp since Opeta went down. They're not going to make a change just because the rookie looked good in 2 games. They feel more comfortable about him. I'm still not even sure he'll be first off the bench if something happens to Bredesen. I still think that's probably Walton. But, that's another one to watch too. Walton Haggard. Can Haggard get back out there and, can he supplant Walton? That's another one to watch for as well. But it's Ben Bredesen. It'll be Ben Bredesen until injuries happen or ineffectiveness happens. And I feel like they need to either go to a guy like Walton or a guy like Klein.
It reminds me much of Matt Filer and his role. He was obviously going to start at left guard last year, and they were going to ride him until injury happened or there was reason. And it's not even like he played terrible, but he got hurt. Offensive line improved a little bit. That's the only way I see Bredesen going down too, right? Is if it's not to his own fault. Mr. Gene, thoughts on what we're going over? And why don't you jump in here, my friend, with anything for the great JC?
Yeah, absolutely. Over the past 2 preseason games, have you just consistently seen a number of players that have like separated themselves from other players playing for that same position battle? I mean, for me, there hasn't been a whole lot of separation. It's been pretty much like this. We look at the quarterback position and certain wide receiver positions. It's nobody's been able to separate themselves and say, "Hey, I want this position battle." It's been pretty much balanced throughout the preseason.
So I think guys have certainly inserted themselves where they might not have been before. I don't think there's necessarily ever been a quarterback competition. It's always been Kyle Trask number 2 and Wolford was number 3.
Kind of like last year for number 1.
Right. Yeah. There was a bit of a competition there. It was a little bit real for a minute, especially when Trask started doing better than Baker. But no, I think if we're talking about positions on the roster, obviously Chase going down has opened the door for Sean Tucker.
Right.
I think that was a spot where, hey, if he doesn't perform and Chase outperforms him, we're going to try to get you on the practice squad. So not due to his any fault of, Chase's, but I think that's opened the door for Sean Tucker to cement a spot on the roster and probably Chase either go on IR for the start of the season or, maybe not even be on the roster or go on the practice squad if he gets through waivers. At wide receiver, I think your Cody Thompson was a guy no one was talking about. He's a camp body.
Right.
And I think he's came on and kind of made a spot for himself. Everyone was talking about Sterling Shepard, which I always thought was kind of funny because if, you look at the depth chart, he'd be the 6th wide receiver. They're going to give him a shot, see what he can have. But he doesn't play special teams. He's a veteran. Yeah. He's a 6-year wide, 6 receivers got to play some special teams, and that's not his forte. So, plus he's been banged up. So maybe he's sitting on the practice squad. Cam Johnson was that name, but he's been injured. I think tight end is another one that you kind of look at. Tanatala flashed in the offseason, been injured until this week. But Ko Keith is, Devin Culp has been playing strong, but Ko Keith is making a real strong consideration of, hey, maybe we should keep 4 tight ends on the roster, So I think that the defensive line group, I feel like, and Bolson mentioned this, no one after the game, I asked them on Monday or Sunday, out of those guys, has anyone separated themselves? Obviously, Uguak had a sack. CJ Brewer played his lights out. Ernest Brown is another guy. And Bowles mentioned both Brown and CJ Brewer as guys he's looking for. So I think you're probably looking at those 2. Mike Green has been kind of non-existent. Yeah. I don't think, maybe in the practice squad, but I don't think he's going to make the roster. So if they keep 6, which at this point, I think they are going to keep 6 defensive linemen. I think you're looking at a battle between Brewer and Ernest Brown and who's going to kind of come out on top of there. I think cornerback is another thing. Keenan Isaac inserted his name in there. I think Josh Hayes was like, all right, they're going to keep Josh Hayes and moving him outside. Led the NFL in special teams tackles last year. Got an all-pro vote. Okay, this Tyreek Thunderbird kid's looking good. And then Keenan Isaac with just solid technique. He makes the interception. He's looked good, not out of place. He's not the most fluid athlete, but he plays with technique and awareness. And quite frankly, he just knows football. He's a football guy. So he's kind of given an opportunity as well to, kind of join that competition and say, okay, what about me? So,
are we looking at the 3rd and 4th quarter of this upcoming game as players getting that final opportunity to show what they can do?
Yeah, V. Jones. Someone mentioned V. Jones in the chat and Kalen DeLoach. I think V. Jones has shown stuff. He was just kind of a throwaway guy last year in the practice squad. They signed him to a futures deal. He's shown some things. Had an interception in camp. Kalen obviously is a hot name because he was at FSU and he's got the speed and undersized linebacker, a la Brooks, a la, Levante David, but hasn't really made a mark in the 2 games he's played in. A lot of special team snaps. Like I told you guys, when you look at the snap counts when I post them, up after games, you always look at that special team count because, that's going to show you a bit. And even more so Friday, if the starters are going to be playing, they're going to be playing their special teams roles as well, I assume. So we'll kind of get a better look at, kind of where things are shaking out on the special teams. But yeah, it's like this is your last chance. You have a joint practice tomorrow with the Dolphins, and then you have Friday, the game with the Dolphins. They have a meeting on Monday, roster cut downs on Tuesday, but they'll be cutting players prior to that, Saturday rolls around and they'll be starting to whittle down this roster with guys who have no shot. A guy like Brandon Matterson, who just signed yesterday, he'll be one of the first to go. Corey Honley or whatever the punter's name is they signed, he'll be one of the first to go. Those are the guys that are kind of, they're coming, they're going to be cut, and it's just kind of a matter of time. And then the harder ones will be on Tuesday because you want to kind of sneak them through waivers, right? So
Yep.
That's kind of how that goes because you can't start building your practice squad until Thursday, I believe. So, or maybe it's Wednesday at 4. It's either Wednesday at 4 or Thursday. I think it's Wednesday at 4 after the full waivers pass through. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, JC, question for you. Any word of possible kickoff rule changes? I haven't heard of any alterings. I think that they're going to try.
This is it for the season.
Yeah, I think they're going to try this out. I think they're going to give it a go, and I don't think we'll see it maybe slightly modified as time goes on. Maybe they'll try a tinkle here, a trinket there, but at the end of the day, this is what we're working with.
This is what we're working with. It will be interesting. We haven't seen the stickless balls, like the trackers, So,
Yeah.
But we haven't, as the Bucs, you haven't seen that in the game yet. It's been in other games, but that's the one thing that was in the preseason that might get pushed through to the regular season. Depending on the research and what it shows. But no, kickoffs here for the next year. They'll revisit it next season. They'll either keep it, make some tweaks to it, or they'll go back to the old one, or they'll figure something else out. Maybe they just start the ball at the 25-yard line. I don't know. It's just get right into the action.
Maybe you'll start the game winning 7-0 and not even need to return the ball anymore. Who the hell knows? Maybe we'll play with balloons like that South Park episode did. Maybe we'll get to that point. But we're joined in the chat by Nikki Fit Mama, Mr. Everything Bucs, the Godfather, James Rubright as well. JC, I think you mentioned really great points there. It's kind of funny because Sterling Shepard signed either a couple hours or the day after Thompson did, so he kind of hogged the spotlight. But I remember signing Thompson, and I looked at his background, and I'm like, yeah, his numbers ain't there, but he has been in the NFL a while. He's been making his way. I'm like,
he's just
exactly
special teamer that can block. That if you need in a pinch, he's not going to be anything fabulous, but he's a guy who can give you snaps, and not be a total liability out there.
As WQEE is joining us, radio station right outside Atlanta, live. They're joining in the show as well. But JC, not to sound mean.
Hey, get me on the radio station, WQEE.
Hey, I could hook you up with that, man. Yeah, I know they're listening, but I could put you on in the Atlanta area.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Used to keep in touch with them very well. I think you make a great point on Mike Green, JC. Nothing against him. Last year, he was obviously a reserve body as well. We had Deadrin Sanat here last year as well, some other guys. But this year, I'm sorry, Mike Green didn't impress me enough last season to lock down his roster spot this year. And in the preseason, he really hasn't moved the needle. So I don't really see how he makes it over a Brewer, over a Brown, and Josh Kayepo really likes him as well. So I don't know how the hell Mike Green, nothing against him, good guy, nice guy, got to meet this guy, but I don't know how he makes his way onto the active. And I'm not being mean, but based on last year and this year, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I think maybe practice squad, but yeah, I mean, and it's not just plays, right? Everyone's on Luala Uluwak because he made a sack, right? But it's not just making plays, and that's the thing. It's being consistent, doing your job, doing it the right way, and I think that's one thing that hasn't stood out. He's been, pushed around by some backup offensive linemen, and other guys have just looked better. CJ Brewer's looked better. Ernest Brown has looked better. There's other guys who have shown a little bit more, and that's disappointing because the guy's been in your system for 3 years. You have him, make the active 53-man roster last year out of camp, and then he goes down with an injury, and kind of derails kind of what he was doing there, and kind of not really playing anyways, more of a special teams guy, but he's got an opportunity, I would think, to make the practice squad just because of his familiarity with the system, but I don't think he's making the 53-man roster. And then the fact that Bowles was asked about some of these guys today on the defensive line, and the first two names came out of his mouth weren't a guy who's been here for 2 years. It was, a guy who's been here for 1 year, and C.J. Brewer, and a guy who just signed this offseason, Ernest Brown. So,
just being
I think that kind of tells you what you need to know.
J-Lo, before you get a crack at JCL in here, I know JC's a busy guy. We still got our bear bracketology as well. JC's pumpkin bear is actually going to be in the bracket tonight, so we'll see if that moves on or not. But we'll see what happens there. But JC, Sterling Shepard reminds me of a couple.
Where are we voting on these brackets? I haven't seen any of it.
It's Gene and I taste test him, and J-Lo taste test him. And we kind of, wiggle on the beers itself, and we kind of
got shipyards.
Do our thing. Yeah, we do. We got shipyards everywhere, man.
You got to track down shipyards.
We got shipyards in our backyard. Let me put the.
You gotta do. Okay, well, it's important. Do you have the caramel?
No, I don't think. I don't.
No, it's not full. You can't do it if you can't get.
Well, then you gotta ship us some.
I know, bro.
If
hey,
you
come
can't
on.
get caramel and cinnamon sugar to do the rim. It's not the same. That's what makes it.
Well, is that a beer or is that an ice cream?
You didn't. Come on, man. You didn't even tell us this part.
That's the thing. You got to have the caramel, salt, sugar, cinnamon sugar rim. That's what makes the whole beer.
Well, I guess it's a margarita or something along these lines.
It's amazing. I mean, if you want to get
we are talking about Shipyard Pumpkin, right?
Yeah, Shipyard Pumpkin.
So what you're saying is you got to put caramel on the rim, and you have to put a little cinnamon sugar on it.
Well, yeah, you put it like on a plate, right? And you get the caramel.
Yeah, like a margarita almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of work,
You
bro.
denied it.
Yeah, well, it's because you said it,
Yeah.
Well, wow.
Dude, you know what? Is this a Boston thing? I have to ask.
It's a northeastern thing.
Okay. And you know what? Because you kind of turned me on to Everyday Maggie and Prosciutto Poppy, those guys over in Boston, and just how they represent the Boston culture, and it makes it endearing a little bit when you watch them. But you know what? Just because of that, I'm willing. We moved them on to the next round. Your beer is in the next round, and who are you going up against? I have to look and see.
No, I don't want to go. Don't just push me through.
Well,
we didn't. I actually tried it, and I was like, you know what? This I like this better than who you went up against. So here we are.
It's a nice It's a nice seasonal beer, man. It's like you guys. Wait, Gene, you're still in Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, the only one that really has a fall right now is Tones, but it's like a nice fall beer. You go like apple picking, pumpkin picking. You come home, you have a night, with some apple cider donuts, and you have a pumpkin head. You want to get real crazy, you put a shot of vanilla vodka in it. Now you're talking.
See, now none of this came up when we were picking these beers and we were looking at them.
Did you guys get to try the That's My Boy Blue?
No, it wasn't on the list.
No, I don't see it.
This is now after the fact. You're telling us these beers.
I gave you two beers.
That beer will be on next season. But
I gave you two beers. That's My Boy Blue and Shipyard. Let's get back on track. Gene, what was your question?
So for me, my question to you, is there anybody that has stood out that we didn't talk about, like at the beginning of the season? Here we are, we're finishing everything up, and you're like, you know what? Nobody talked about him, but he's come on and he's put himself in a position to grab that spot that nobody else expected him to grab. Is that one player that you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming, but here we are?
I don't think so. Kind of looking.
So for you, everything is kind of falling into place.
Yeah,
like you kind of expected it to.
I mean, the guys who I mentioned, right? Cody Thompson, like
Brown.
Sean Tucker, I would say maybe. I think Sean Tucker, a guy who I thought that would have a really good, sophomore season was Kayvon Merriweather, and he was playing lights out till he got banged up. He'll be good to go by week 1. But he was a guy who, some people thought he might be on the bubble, and I was like, no, he's not. He's going to make this team.
He's legit, certified.
So yeah, so I think if you want to say him, but I mean, if you kind of, I originally my breakdown had J.J. Russell on. It had, Jose Ramirez and Marquise Watts on my original 53. I guess maybe
like a Bucky Irving. I mean, Bucky Irving and Rashad White.
I think was going to be the guy. I think he's going to be. I always thought he was going to be RB2.
Do you think he dips more into Rashad's carries and touches than what we once thought, though?
Possibly. I think I was a little reserved on how his skill set would translate completely. You saw what you see on college tape is what you see on the field. I thought McMillan was going to be good, but I didn't think McMillan was going to be that good. So like some guys who like I thought would be this and kind of proved they were this. I think more than anything, but no one that I mean, maybe Keenan and Isaac, but I mean, or Tyreek Funderburk. I didn't think much of those two guys when they signed. For me, the guys were just. Neither of those guys have really have wowed me. Obviously Kalen's gotten the first team reps in practice and stuff, but neither of those guys have been like, wow, this guy is a stud. I told you, I think Devin Culp might be. You can throw him in there. A lot of people were like, yeah, he's the 7th round tight end. Sure. I was like, no. You guys, how many times did I say it on here? Cohen talked about wanting to move tight end, and he's a better blocker, especially out in space, than people give him credit for. And I think he showed that throughout, the preseason game. So, no one I think has kind of overachieved at that level. That has shocked me as of now.
And I want to get one last look at the receiver room before J-Lo, if he has any questions, because I know you're a busy guy, JC. But
I do have a question. Wait. I got a question.
Wait, no, I know J-Lo. Hold on, after me. I can't even
No.
see you, J-Lo. So you could sit out until I could fucking see you. Until I can fucking see you, you could take the back of the line. All right.
Yeah, Tone said J-Lo's not even a co-host.
The abuse.
He's just a guy.
He's a fucking great co-host when I could see him, but this guy is somewhere in the stratosphere.
Page to help share this to J-Lo.
So maybe RKO you when I see you next time, JC.
You're not even helping extend the audience. You're just
Well,
leave
J-Lo
J-Lo alone. He's hiding in a closet on his lunch break.
we know that J-Lo, he's there. He's probably being a girl dad right now. He's probably being a girl dad right now. But I do want to ask you this, JC, while we try and rein things back in here. No Roman intended. But Sterling Shepard, is he the Perryman of this year's team? Is he going to be inactive to start the year, and then you think as injuries go, is he cool with being a practice squad body? Then as we get banged up in the receiver room, is he going to come on, say week 8, week 9, try and be a reinforcement? And question 2, before J-Lo keeps crying, but Latrell Jones, any thoughts on him? Does he have any chance at the Bucs practice squad? I know probably not the active, but
yeah,
friend of the show.
Sterling's questionable, right? I don't know what his mindset is. I hope to try to maybe.
Hopefully not a Cole Beasley mindset.
Right. I'm going to try to talk to him tomorrow after practice. There's a couple of guys I want to grab and kind of feel out his mindset, if it doesn't work out, if, they decide to put you on the short-term IR, or if, the practice squad is where you go. Is that something you're open to? Remember, he was content with not playing until Baker called him and said, hey, what are you doing? I heard your name a few times around here. You ready to go? So is he okay? Does he, is the ego there, or is he just want to be part of a team? And does he love, what he's been around and the camaraderie and the team? And is he just happy being a guy that can potentially be useful? I don't know. I think when you look at Dave Moore, Brashad Perriman, Cyril Grayson, those guys, a lot less accomplished, right? Brashad had some success. Cyril, not so much. David Moore, not so much. A little bit success in one season in Seattle. But, Sterling has no connection to this roster other than Baker. It's not like last year when David Moore knew,
Bredesen.
You're right. It's not like he knew, Dave and Brad last year. It's not like when Brashad came back, he I think he had a year with Bowles before he was gone. If I'm not mistaken, with the Jets. It's kind of, and plus Tom Brady was here. It's Tom fucking Brady. You just watched the guys win a Super Bowl in a COVID year. So he's one that I'm not sure of. Latrell Jones, I think he's done the best he can, but I think they're too deep there. I think guys like Cameron Johnson, Sterling Shepard, if he wants to be there, or Ryan Miller. I think those guys, Cephas Johnson, or whatever his name is, just because of his height, really, that's all. He hasn't really shown much. But, if they need a tall receiver for scout teams, I think Cephas, is ahead of him right now. But, you never know. I don't kind of know what's going on with those. Tanner Canoe could beat him out. Tanner's obviously had some good touches in the last couple of games, and he provides a punt returner insurance because he's the guy taking the punts back when Trey's not. So, it's kind of one of those things where I think Latrell is probably left out of that room. Maybe locks on to another team. Someone gives him another opportunity on the practice squad, but I don't think it's going to be with the Bucs.
That kind of does, not saying you're wrong, JC, because you obviously are way more in tune with me, but I remember Kalen Geiger, friend of the show's a couple of years back, he was looking down and out a little bit. He was being outshined by Devin Tompkins and a couple other of those lights, and then it ended up being somehow Kalen Geiger. Now, I know it's probably not the case, but sometimes teams do hide UDFAs in preseason to try and get him back on the practice squad. But the way Ryan Miller,
I haven't noticed him at practice either, really.
no, that's what I was going to say right now. The way Ryan Miller's been playing, the way Cody Thompson's been playing, the way, Rakim Jarrett's still going to have to factor into the equation. Like we're talking about Sterling Shepard. Sadly, I hope the best for Latrell. I don't know if a path is there necessarily in Tampa. Now, that doesn't mean he can't go elsewhere.
Right. No, you go ball out this weekend and, your tape is your resume,
Yep, as we do have the great Emily. Wow, she's not being so mean to Gene right now. But J-Lo, the floor is yours. King J-Lo, you take it away now. You got some good work to do, J-Lo. Let's hear it.
Well, for the most part, what starters do you expect to see on Friday playing? Like who do you expect to see?
Everyone.
Obviously, Baker Mayfield. Say it again.
Everyone who's healthy is going to play.
How long do you envision them playing?
So if they're banged up a little bit, they probably won't play. Last year they played, I think, their entire half. I think they'll probably get them out of a quarter. I know some people don't want them to play at all. But again, that's ultimately Bowles' decision. He'll make that in correlation with the other guys. But if it was me, I wouldn't play him. It's just me. But if I'm going to play him, it's going to be a quarter tops. 2 series each, get them out of there. Trask finish the game out. Let's get an extended look at these guys. We know what we have with our starters, right? We don't want to show too much. Even though it's going to be vanilla, we still don't want to show too much. Let's get them out and let's get these guys that we need an extended look at in. Let's get look at this wide receiver room. Let's get a look at do we like Ramon Jefferson or do we like DJ Williams for the practice squad potentially? Are we going to keep a tight end? Is it Tanner Taula? Is it going to be Sal Canala? Is it going to be David Wells? Like, are we keeping Keith or keeping Culp? Like, are we keeping both of them? Like, those are the decisions that I need to see, not whether the starters can shake some rust off. That's not what I need to see. So we'll see. Good block, Cannon. We'll see.
Cannon. We got Cannon in the house as
Very
we
nice.
have Tampa realtor David Ferrara joining us on Facebook as well. But before we let JC go, because I know he doesn't want to.
If you want to sponsor a show, hit me up, David Ferrara, JC Allen on Facebook.
Yeah, Tampa real estate is one of the best in the biz.
Yeah.
So maybe
Let's get some sponsorship going. We can have a whole segment with Rashad White, sponsored by you, David. Let's look it up.
Hey, let's go, JC. Before we let you go, I know you don't. You don't want to miss out on your pumpkin bear losing, so we'll cut you loose before we get to the beer.
No. Try this shit right now. While I'm on.
Hey, before we do get to the bear bracket, though, Gene or J-Lo, any last Bucs questions related to JC before he kind of lays down what's upcoming for his future?
Yeah, just real quick. I want to thank him again. I know I thank him all the time, but just what he brings as a journalist to the Bay Area. I really appreciate what you do, man. The fact that you interact with fans, you don't think you're above all of us, but you're out here giving the news the best way you can. And I just want you to know that we do appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. And there are a lot of people that feel the same way I do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I think you're a jerk personally, but I like your professionalism and the other work that you do. But just if we just focus on just what you do as a journalist, I think you're amazing.
You know, I got to straddle the lines. I'm like that Seth Rollins type. Like I'm so, but they love me. You know?
Yeah, Ray Ripley type now. You know, it's JC. There wouldn't be a Bucs reporting room without the great JC Allen and a J-Lo from the other stratosphere hanging with John Daly or whatever the hell you're doing. You have any last words or comments for the great JC, Bucs related wise?
Thank you, JC. You're the best, man. Best in the biz. Like I said, appreciate all your time you put into coming on the pod and dealing with the three of us, talking football and wrestling and all that stuff. So take care, buddy.
Yeah, we're, you know, hey, we got wrestling advertisements now appearing on the show. So check out Friday Night Heel Turn presented by 88. Speaking of heel turn, I'm gonna go. No, I'm kidding right now. But JC, I do want to say, just plug yourself, my friend. Let us know what's upcoming for you, for your endeavors during the season. I know we're gonna try and cross paths as little as possible for Bucs games because that means we'll lose. But outside of that, JC. Hey, I know what games I'm going to. Kansas City, at New Orleans, at Atlanta, and then home against the Raiders. So that's your album.
Games we're going to lose, Kansas City and Atlanta. So, yeah, and probably the Raiders. So those are 3 losses. Put the money line right now because it's surefire losses. But, yeah, I mean, we got lots of things cooking up. So, you know, we'll be back at it tomorrow, Pirate Parlay, 7 o'clock. Still trying to figure out a guest there. If I'm getting a player on, or it might just be me kind of talking about training camp and previewing the game, the roster, my thoughts on that, maybe a guest, who knows? We'll figure that out. We fly by the seat of our pants there until the regular season starts, which is only in like 19 days. So we're coming close up into it. Bucs game day, I'm going to be pretty busy. Obviously, we'll have full coverage of the game itself. I'll have my 53-man roster prediction out either probably Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, after this game, kind of solidify my thoughts and where I think guys are going to go. And then next week is a fun week for me. I put out all of my predictions. So I'll have my top 10 bold takes. Last year, I didn't do so great. Came close on a couple of them. I think I went 4 for 10, but I was like a hair off. 10 yards off on Rashad, 2 receptions off on Otten, and another one was really close to being, 7 for 10, but hey, whatever. My season-long superlatives, so who's going to be, the offensive MVP, defensive MVP, comeback player, breakout player, rookie of the year on both sides, most improved, all that fun stuff. And then I'll have my season prediction game by game, what I think the Bucs record's going to be. I think I'm there. I think I know. I think I'm confident and what this team could do, what this team could be. Again, that will kind of shore up once I see, what I need to see on the field on Friday. Some of these backup guys and some of these, just a glimpse of what the starters look like. Again, I ain't going to take it for a whole, kit and caboodle, but just a little kind of, little, just a tip, just to get me, just to get me right. Just a tip, just to get my prediction right,
Hey, I love that. And, you're a man of many predictions, many of do, which seemingly come right. I just can't believe we're already here near the start of the regular season. It's crazy. Seems like it was just draft time. Seems like it was free agency and all that good stuff.
Last Sunday of the year.
Yeah, and we do have college football this Saturday. Not a lot on our plates, but JC, I did want to extend to you. We do our new Saturday pregame show called the Saturday Showdown every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Feel free to drop by if you ever want, man. We're always there talking Bucs, NFL, gambling advice, college advice, fantasy football. A lot of fun stuff on that. So if you ever want to drop by on a Saturday, just let us know, and you're always in, brother. I think Cannon just did something, huh?
He just got a nice tackle, and he's helping the teammate up. Oh, no. Teammate's down. Take a knee. Yeah, I'm no use during college. because I'm from the Northeast and all we do is win with our pro teams. So we don't have enough time to pay attention to college football. BC, UMass, whatever.
We'll talk about Boston College, Jeremy Trueblood's legacy.
Yeah, we don't talk too much about that. But anything else, I'll always pop in. If I'm around and I can, I'll either pop in, usually give you all a sup fellas and acknowledge me, or I'll text you like I did tonight. What's the link? And I'll hop on in.
I gotta get you on the show too, bro.
Yeah, Gene, he charges a cheap rate these days. So, JC, it's been awesome. If you want to keep on with our beer bracketology, feel free. But I know you're scouting the great Cannon at practice.
No. You're trying my beer. I'm here. Let's go.
All right, Gene. You roll it out, Gene. Without further ado, let's get to the brackets, Gene.
All right, and these are the next beers. We've already done the previous ones. We have Land Shark winning. We have Broken Skull winning. We had the Elysian Space Dust beer winning, and we had Highlight winning for last week. So this week, the first beer, and this is me, and we'll go around the horn here because we have 3 people. It'll be odd. There's not going to be a tie here. So the first round, we have Modelo Especial, J-Lo's beer, going up against Miller Genuine Draft, which is Tampa Tone's beer. And I chose Modelo Especial because the beer is sexy.
Well, I'm out then because J-Lo's going to go his beer, right, J-Lo?
Duh.
Well, you guys are fucking fucked. I'll go MGD and I'll lose.
I would go Modelo too. So yeah, you're out.
Yeah, well, I got a tough draw. These guys give their, Gene gets to face himself. I get put up against Modelo. It's like, come on.
Oh, the next round is going to be tough. Trust me.
I'm kidding, but hey, I'm fighting with MGD. It's just a nice, cool, crisp. I would have put a Wisconsin beer on there, but none of you guys could get it. It's literally only brewed in Wisconsin. It's called a Spotted Cow or Moon Man. They're both by New Glarus Company. It's literally a mom and pa Wisconsin beer shop, but no one could get those. So down goes MGD. On to the next one, Gene.
I will say that each one of my beers I did put in the freezer for equal amount of time, so they're equally cold, ice cold when they're coming out, and there's no one beer better than the other. The next round, we have Shipyard Pumpkin Beer versus Pepsi Blue Ribbon, and for me, let's see.
Easy.
Oh
no way! He is a PBR head.
PBR winning in an upset special, baby.
The heel turn.
Hey, listen. I like PBR, but I'm a man of the fall. When that pumpkin hit my lips, it tasted delicious. I love pumpkin flavored things, and I put a glass in the freezer. I put the beers in the fridge, and I use different glasses. You can't, taint each other's palates and glasses and stuff. Got to be separate. I'm going with Shipyard Pumpkin. I'm bringing home the pumpkin plan. Call me the pumpkin man. I'm going with Shipyard Pumpkin, the beer of JCL. And so J-Lo.
J-Lo is the deal breaker here. I love it.
Pumpkin.
J-Lo, did you even try the beer? No, hold on. Timeout.
I will say this. Oh, go ahead, Gene. My bad. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Did you even try the beers?
No, I did. I'm not a big fan of pumpkin, so I gotta go with PBR. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're a loser.
What is that, J-Lo?
J-Lo is pumpkin. I'm not a
he's the
pumpkin
least
guy.
valuable tonight. He's picking against my beer, picking against JC's beer. When I'm asking him questions, he's nowhere to be found. It's like, what the hell is going on with J-Lo tonight?
Listen, I'm not a pumpkin guy myself. I don't eat pumpkin pie. I don't eat pumpkin cake. I don't eat pumpkin seeds. I don't drink pumpkin coffee. But Shipyard is not really pumpkin flavor. It's delicious. If you guys had it with a rim job, you would have liked it a lot more. Let me tell you that.
There's a little hint of the pumpkin, not anything overwhelming, but
it's a sweet beer. It's like a dessert beer. It's like a good sweet beer. It's not. It's good. A couple of those will sneak up on you. My question for all of you is, where did you find it?
I asked one of my guys to get it. This Indian liquor store by me. He's the man. It's called Star 7 or something along those lines. And he's been my buddy for years. I don't know if he gets his beer from India, where the hell he gets it, but he has connects where he brings in beer from around the damn world, brings in domestics, brings in anything you can get. His name is Patel. He's just a great guy. So my man Patel, he always prides himself too. He's like, I'm from India, buddy. I can make anything happen. So I go, you're the man here, Patel. And then it wasn't anything great, but he got a couple shipments worth. I think there's still a couple on his shelf, but he said other people have been buying it a little bit too. So kudos to you, JC. You brought a new beer in the Naperville neck of the woods from Patel from India.
Let's go.
Shout out to 32nd Street Liquor. They were able to. They actually had it, which I was shocked. I think they have a distributor who's moved from Boston to Phoenix, and he's got some connects, I guess. And we were just fortunate to get it because I didn't think I could get it. That was my concern. When we were going through the beer brackets originally,
we're concerned about that. I will say,
can everybody get it? And that was a trick.
Well, we got 32nd Street Liquor by Gene, and we got Patel by me holding the fort down. So we're in good hands.
Lukian's by my house in South Tampa on Dom Mabry. They usually got all the beers and all that.
They got everything. Huh? Yeah, they got everything. All right.
Shout out to the shipyards. Boston.
I either get it from Publix or I'll get it from Total Wine.
So it's right by you as well. It's in your. Lucan's is everything.
So is it shipyards?
It comes out now and it's gone by. You can't find it by mid-September, so it's not even out during Halloween, which is crazy. You gotta
That's horrible.
You don't get it.
That's when you want it. That's when you need it out there. To be honest.
Right. Exactly. But I think they only get limited supplies of it. There's another even better one. I can't think of. It's like Jacko something, and that one's even better than Pumpkinhead Shipyard, but it's hard to find. But that's a really good one too.
I really hope this picks up next year. I would love more contributions of beers. People were like reluctant to say, "Oh, I like this beer or this beer." So we were struggling to get the bracket that we got.
Guys, if you try it, if you're like out in the comments or watching or listening, if you try it, shoot me a DM or shoot me a message on Facebook. Let me know what you think. Remember, you got to get the caramel, salt, and sugar on the rim, cinnamon sugar on the rim. And that makes it even better. And if you get crazy, a little shot of vanilla vodka in there, now you're talking. But let me know what you guys think if anyone else tries it.
Hey, just remember I voted for it, brother. That's all I can say. I was the good one here.
But you know what? Against PBR is what hurts the most.
Yeah, PBR,
Just put me against Natty Ice if you're going to put me against PBR.
We'll put you against Hams next time.
These things happen. This is just the way of the world, man. I don't make the rules. I just play by it.
Has anyone ever drank Hams? That's the worst.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna ask for a recount. I think this is collusion here. You had the PBR hat already. You knew I was coming on. Tones gave you the tip off. I think this is you turned your camera off to go find it. This is collusion here. I want to recount. In Arizona.
Hey, actually, technically, we're 1-1 because J-Lo didn't try the beer.
Oh, is he a felon?
No. So okay.
Does he have his papers?
Hey, we'll ask our.
Not legal. I don't know if I'm legal or not.
We'll ask our Buccateers correctional officers to get
Oh, we have one of those, really?
Yeah, his name's Bucko. He's barely around. You could barely see him on the pod. He runs his mouth.
I thought Olivia was the corrections officer.
Did Olivia
unbiased?
Yeah.
Did Liv try it?
She did not yet, but she will. She'll love that, man.
She'll love the job.
Oh, we're really getting.
I love
it, man.
You guys are terrible. I'm talking about what I said it multiple times. You're
mine. I caught it. I was just trying to behave on his show.
Come to think about a little caramel, cinnamon, sugar. It might make that more enjoyable too.
Yeah, well, it'll be like the Monday Night Raw when Edge and Lita took over. But other than that, I promise I'll keep my top on. That's for sure.
I don't know. I kind of like the matching undies,
Yeah, we on the Buccateers, it's a requirement to have matching underwear.
It's important.
So
they're made out of beer cans too.
JC, JLo, Gina, myself, whenever we're on, we all have the different pair but the same designed underwear on.
Yeah. Basically.
Pretty much.
JC, are you sticking through the rest of the bracket? We still got 2 more to go.
Yeah, might as well. I'm just here.
All
Let's
right.
go.
So the next round we have Miller Beer, LC Leprechaun versus Bud Light, and I think LC Leprechaun had that one too. Wow, he had 2 of them. So for me, I picked Bud Light.
I'm going
both ice cold. Miller Beer, the champagne of beer versus Bud Light, and for my choice, I did pick Bud Light.
This is tough because Miller, I prefer in taste, but Bud Light, man, they're commercials, but we're doing it for taste. I'll go with Miller Beer. I'll stick with that.
Nice. So we got a splitter here again.
Yes, we do. We got a split ball. J-Lo, if you're there,
I've
where
had
you
both
headed?
of these, so I can tie break if necessary.
I say, give me Miller. I like Miller over Bud.
Oh, Bud Light is out. Bud Light is out. I did not see that one coming.
JC,
So-
would you agree with the outcome?
So it depends. Like if I'm gonna sit down and get like a burger or something at a joint, I'd probably get a Miller Lite. But if I'm outside, barbecue, 4th of July, cookout, beer Olympics, tubing down the river, give me Bud Light. I think Bud Light's just more of a tailgate. Like I can pound some Bud Lights. Miller Lite, I think, is just like it's a little too filling. It's a little.
I
too,
agree.
I just felt like Bud Light is football beer.
It is.
It was
Until it got booted out of the round there.
until I was gonna say something different, but 2024 to each your own. But they lost a huge fan base, until something else popped up.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but they kind of dropped the ball.
Bud Lights, they're on the way back now. They threw the kitchen sink at the marketing. They got Peyton Manning and Emmitt Smith to do commercials.
They threw. Never mind.
Yeah,
they missed on that one. They should have at least either got Tom Brady or Gronk or somebody that's a drinker.
We'll say they threw a spitball at the situation in general.
Brady chugs the beer like nobody else. 1 2-second gulp's gone.
Yeah,
that's the guy you want marketing beer is Gronk.
He beat Dave Bakhtiari, I think, in a chugging contest.
Oh my God!
Dave Bakhtiari ain't winning much these days, so.
All right. And this is the last one here, going into the last beer selection going into this particular round. It's Guinness versus Lowenbrow, and for me, I chose Guinness. Lowenbrow, I drank Lowenbrow in college, and my palate's advanced because it wasn't good back then. And Guinness was my choice.
The thing that's tough with Guinness, it reminds me of an Irish car bomb, and you could really only drink like 1 to 2 Guinness at most, and then you feel like, tub of toothpaste, or like your pants were just 3 sizes too small on you. Lowenbrow is what I'm rolling with. I'm going with Lowenbrow. I'm sorry. I know Guinness is highly respected. It does taste very good. I probably prefer Guinness in the taste, but in totality of the beer, give me Lowenbrow, man. I get through half a Guinness and I feel like Chris Christie or JB Pritzker out there. So I'll go with Lowenbrow.
J-Lo, tie break.
Truthfully, I didn't try Lowenbrow, but Guinness I've had, so I'll have to go with Guinness.
This guy... next year he's out, man. The rule is you gotta taste test these motherfucking beers so we could pick one fairly.
Okay, let's see. We're gonna go to JC.
Let JC be there.
I like Guinness. I'll tell you why. I think Guinness is one of those beers where you look at it, you're like, oh fuck, like what am I getting myself into? But once it hits your lips, once you get past the foam. Like, it's such a smooth beer, and it's got such a good taste. Now, I agree. If you're going to go, beer Olympics, Guinness probably isn't the best choice. Yeah. But if you're having, a nice meal, especially if you're in an Irish pub,
nice sipping beer.
Or a burger and some bar food appetizers, I mean, that's the beer you go to. I don't think it's like an everyday beer. And again, you have to, you can't, they got these Guinness cans and shit like, what am I doing? What am I, 12? Yeah.
You got to get it out of the draft.
It's got to be out of draft. And if you go somewhere and you see them pour you a full glass of Guinness, immediately say, I don't want that. They're like, have something else, please. Because anyone who drinks Guinness knows that if someone's pulling you a full glass of Guinness, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So, yeah, I've been at that situation a few times where I had someone pour me a full glass of Guinness, and I said, actually, just give me a Bud Light.
You know what's actually I love about Guinness too is the little foam that piles up at the top there. It just looks so neat. Guinness sits perfectly when it's, poured out of a draft if you know what you're doing. So
Yeah, we had it in Dublin. I've always been a fan of Guinness.
It's how you drink it in Belgium. It's called the Belgian dip.
Yeah, Belgium. Hey, that'd be one dip I could get behind. That's for sure.
Like when you get the foam on your nose.
Austin Powers, the Belgian dip.
Oh, BB King says rigged. Hey, I fought for you, BB. I picked Lowenbrow.
We went to we actually this was fair. This was fair and democratic because J-Lo couldn't give a honest answer, so we had to go to our next guy. So
there's another good Irish beer, not Killian's, but it's like something red, and that's pretty good. I forget
Killian's Irish Red is that's it, isn't it?
It's another something. It's called something red. I had it at what's the name of that sports bar out here on Dale Mabry?
It's across from 2000. Not it's next door to 2001.
No, it's North.
I know what 2000.
Are you talking about the one with the ladies?
No, it's North Dale Mabry.
Wing House?
No, that's no. I mean, no.
Is it Riveters?
Nope.
Brickhouse?
Miller's?
No, it's like something. It's literally a sports bar. It's not a chain. There's only one of them. It's on North Dale Mabry. It's across from like Whiskey something, next to like a breakfast place.
Not Whiskey Joe's. Is it Whiskey Joe's?
No.
My buddy worked at Whiskey Joe's.
I love that place.
J-Lo, you don't know?
He's saying North Dale Mabry. There's many sports bars. There's Prime Time.
How far is it past Ray J?
Wait, what were you saying, JC?
Is it Prime Time?
Prime Time.
Well, now we got Slime Time, Prime Time. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Prime Time Grill. It's a nice little sports bar up on North Dale Mabry.
It's Prime Time. It's time.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Nice.
Well,
it's Prime Time.
We got Prime Time. We'll have to have a drink at Prime Time.
It's a good spot. You would like it, Tone. It's a good spot.
No, it's not
you
good.
You evidently don't know about it, J-Lo.
It's not a good place. Prime Time.
What are you talking about? I like Prime Time. Get out of here with that. Prime
Time's good. Like that, like dive bar that the old people go to, and like it's good if you just want to drink and get some like appetizers that are fried. I wouldn't get anything that's like cooked there, but it's like one of those like dive bars that you're not gonna. It's set back and maybe back in its heyday, it's covered in like wood paneling. It's not upscale at all. It's like
there's a stuffed gator on the wall.
Yeah, like they got like posters that are all aged and got cobwebs up on top.
That's awesome. That's my type of place, man.
Those are Florida spots, man. Those are spots that need to be reserved. They got to be preserved, to be honest.
Bar, but like again, like fried food probably only out of the kitchen,
That's the best, man.
Up to kill any bacteria.
Why would I go there for anything else? Give me a nice little. Maybe give me a nice little oyster.
Maybe it was O'Hara Irish Red, Bud Cannabis was saying. Maybe it was one of those. I don't know. It was good. I had it. You know who I had it with? Mr. Evan Winter, the ginger himself.
Are you talking? I'll name some Irish beers right now. There's Magner's Original. There's Sullivan's Malting Irish Ale. There's Oyster Stout. There's O'Hara's Irish Pale Ale. There's Wicklow Wolf Elevation. There's Kinniger Scraggy Bay.
We're getting off the rails here. I don't remember it.
Murphy Stout, Harp Lager, Smithwick Red's Ale.
Smithwick Red, that might be it. Smithwick, I think that's it.
See, you just need a Tampa Tones around, and I'll get to it. That's all to it.
Smithwick Red, yep.
But guys, there we are. We have moved on with 4 more beers in our Buccateers beer bracketology as we now get ready. What happened?
I was hosed. I was robbed. Conspiracy.
You were. We need a recount. We need a
Take that
recount.
ugly PBR hat off, Gene.
You know what, man? I can only do what I can do. I'm sorry. I'm a victim of circumstances here, and that's how you have to look at this.
Now, Gene.
You know what they say in the North End? I'm a victim of circumstances.
Yeah, I know. I was just fucking with you. Oh,
You're talking about the North End of Boston here.
Drop
Boston.
the F-bomb. There goes the monetization on this one.
Well, fellas, what can you do as we are nearing the end of Buc What You Heard and Buccateers special with the great JC Allen of Sports Illustrated
No,
Game Day?
you said it wrong. It's Buccateers and Buc What You Heard.
Yeah.
Your name goes first.
Yeah, okay. Well, I love that, JC. We're gonna clip that and put that into the beginning there. Leroy's needed to be reserved last I was in Tampa. JC, you're cutting up a little bit because you are at practice. So anytime we talk,
I said I'll teach you not to pick my beer.
Whatever, man. However, it's got to be. But no, I'll pick your beer all day, brother.
I didn't get enough money to pick that beer, so there's that. You put that out there.
JC, the great JC, we know you're at practice. We're about to wrap up here. Any final words for the program, brother? It's been an honor.
No, just I always enjoy chilling with you guys, chopping it up, talking some football. Yeah, you guys are. Come on, get by him. Cannon just go for the sack.
Let's go, Cannon with the sack. J-Lo, are you with the sack?
He's doing the arm flex like this.
That's what you got to do. J-Lo, are you arm flexing right now? Any final words for the show here, J-Lo?
No, great show again. Sorry I was MIA for most of the show. I'll be better prepared on Saturday. Go
No,
Bucs.
you're good. We're just giving you a hard time, bro. No
You're
reason.
just in your feelings. It'll be okay, bro.
Yeah, and the great Kenneth Rubright's joining on Facebook as well. Gene, any last words for the Buccateers Buc What You Heard pod with the great JC Allen and Million?
Thank you all, guys. JC, thank you again. Keep doing your thing, and go Highlight. That's my beer choice to win it all. But
Gene, are you going live Thursday, Gene?
I will be going live.
Well, join JC tomorrow when he's live or when he puts his show out. JC will be.
He never comes to my show and wants me to go on his show.
No,
what are you
I'm not saying Gene. I'm saying everybody who's watching this, tune into JC tomorrow.
I always watch your show, man. It'll be abused.
Yes, tune into Gene on Thursday. They'll be live on Buc What You Heard.
Here now.
I'm forming the original bloodline coming out.
I don't know. I can't hear. Everybody is just cutting up at this point, guys, but it's been awesome. Be on the lookout for Thursday night show, 7 o'clock Eastern, led by Gene. Be on the lookout for JC Allen live tomorrow on the Prowl as the mini head of the table gets going. And then we'll be back here Saturday as well with the great J-Lo, myself, Joey Nips on our Saturday Showdown, and so much more. But remember, fire the damn cannons, go Bucs, Tones, Decker off here with the great JC Allen, the great Gene, the great J-Lo, everybody. Touchdown Tampa Bay, Trey Palmer over the end zone. Bucs win the Super Bowl. I hope everybody Yes, fire the cannons. Everybody have a great Taco Tuesday, and if you watch NXT tonight, enjoy, fellas.
Joe Hendry.
Say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
See, that was a prop profile picture. Joe Hendry. He blew it.
I believe in Joe Hendry. All righty, fellas. You guys all believe in the Buccateers, JC Allen, and Buc What You Heard, so we appreciate that. Other than that, fellas, great show. I got to let these guys go before I owe them triple overtime, so getting out of hand here. But, fellas, love you all. God bless. Happy Taco Tuesday. Tell Cannon to keep up the great work, JC.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Peace.
Adios, everybody. Go Pumpkinhead Shipwreck. Let's fucking go. Woo! Woo! Pumpkin ale, baby. Woo! Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buc fans were there too. The Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.